Hi, welcome to Nurture Our Nature Counseling. I'm Hilke and I'm a holistic counselor and wellness coach. And I see lots of deep feeling, deep thinking women in my practice. And that's just another way of saying that many of my clients identify as being highly sensitive. So this highly sensitive neurotype, it is just a way of being. It's a completely normal way to be. Um, 15 to 20% of all people are highly sensitive, and guess what? The same amount of animals, mammals, non-mammals, even fruit flies have this variation of being highly sensitive. And there's nothing wrong with that. What can be wrong is that our society says that being highly sensitive is a disadvantage. It's bad. You've probably been told before that you're too sensitive. And what's wrong with you? You're too emotional. You're just not quite right. Maybe you feel not quite right after having been told that your reactions aren't appropriate or right. And that's just simply not true. You have a different kind of nervous system. That means that you probably not just think more deeply and just think about things more deeply and thought through them. You probably also perceive things more deeply. Maybe you have a very acute sense of smell and loud noises bother you, and because of this sensory input all the time, you might tend to get overwhelmed, overstimulated, and then exhausted. So this has nothing to do with introversion or extroversion either. When highly sensitive people can be extroverted or introverted. And one thing that is a big subject is burnout. And many highly sensitive people experience burnout. And that comes from the interplay between this extrasensory input, being deep thinking, considering everything deeply, being highly intuitive, because intuition is just gathering information from the environment and from ourselves, and then getting a sense of what that means. And that is more exhausting than not being highly sensitive. And in our society, because let's face it, if 15 to 20% of us are highly sensitive, that means sorry, that's my math. 80 to 85% of us are not highly sensitive. And so our society is made for those folks who don't perceive as deeply, who do not consider as much. So we don't get taught about how to deal with our sensitivity properly. And that leads to burnout. And there are two really big factors in this. One is people pleasing. Hello. I think lots of you will identify with that, because highly sensitive people have such a huge degree of empathy. They will always think of the other person and how they might feel. And they don't want to make others feel bad, and they just sort of anticipate the other person's disappointment in themselves, or maybe their anger. And again, that is exhausting. So people pleasing is one factor, and the other factor is perfectionism. So if you think about everything very deeply, if you have so much sensory input that you're sorting through all the time, you consider everything, right? You consider all aspects, and that is likely to lead to perfectionism. Again, which is very, very exhausting. So, where someone who is just average sensitive might say, oh, like, I've given my best today, I gave at least 80%. A perfectionist might say, I've just given my best, I gave 130%, I cannot give any more. And then they collapse in a heap, and then they think they're not good enough. And that comes on top of being told that you're too sensitive. So there is, so that's the problem, right? But there is a solution, as always. When you become aware of your sensitivity, what that actually means, it does not mean that there's anything wrong with you. It means that you are exactly right the way you are, and that you sparkle in your unique way, and that is beautiful. And when you learn your beautiful way, not through the lens of childhood and trauma and judgment and the way you should be, but for what you really are. Yes, you are sensitive. You are not too sensitive. You are emotional. You're not too emotional. You consider deeply. You are deep thinking. That's not wrong. You don't make rash decisions, probably. And when you would sort of see all that through a different lens, and then learn to adapt your nervous system, because yeah, you'll get more overwhelmed than the average person, but you probably not just feel overwhelmed more often, you don't just feel the negative things more often, you also feel more alive, you think more alive, probably. And I had that experience when I went on holiday with my wonderful brother. And it was just, we get on really well, and we're really different from each other. And towards the end of the holiday, we were talking about our differences. And he said, yeah, I just don't know, but I think you just live much more intensely than I do. So I will notice beautiful decor, I will notice people, I will, yeah, just probably like you do too. So if you would like to know more about this, if you would like to know how I work with my highly sensitive clients to make sure that they do feel just right in their lives, and that they can harness the positive sides of being a highly sensitive person, please either give me a ring, fill out the contact form, book a free session, or just book in with me and we'll hit the ground running. And if you identified with any of this, if you liked it, I would be so grateful if you could give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.